Day, registered engineers and future immigrants in Australia. Registered engineers across almost all disciplines have been on the skilled occupational list in Australia as entry skills for a very long time. And RPS migration has been very successful in assisting a lot of engineers migrate to Australia. Today, I am going to discuss with you how RPS can assist you get your immigrant status in Australia. Having said that, I would like to welcome you all to RPS Migration Services, the largest Filipino-Australian migration firm in Australia. And I would like to welcome you all to our Engineers for Australia program, which helps registered engineers migrate to Australia together with your family. Hello, good day to all of you. My name is Renata Ipisulit, your registered migration agent in Australia. And my mother registration number is 1382407. I run and own RPS Migration. Our main office is in Melbourne, and we have offices in Sydney and Brisbane. We have offices in the Middle East, like in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar. We have RPS Singapore and 12 offices in Vietnam. Hello. The best thing about RPS migration services is that we are practically everywhere and every office is linked to each other. We are all over social media and the reputation that we hold is excellent. You may reach us anywhere if you have any concern, and because of online transaction has become the norm, you will not find any difficulty in reaching us. You will never find a migration firm as large as RPS Migration. We are second to none. Our services for engineers are the following. Number one is English test review. Number two is residency application. And number three is credentialed community language. I am going to discuss each of these in order for us to understand your pathway in Australia. English test requirement is one of the mandatory requirements of migration to Australia. Majority of my engineer applicants have been very successful in scoring not only proficient level of English, but they scored superior level, giving them an edge, an advantage in skill select invitation. All right, so what is person test of English? How is it different from IELTS and from OET? Person test of English has been institutionalized in all RPS migration services. As mentioned, we offer the in-house PTE review, and I will be your PTE headmaster. PTE is a computer-based test. It's a fair test. It's available almost everywhere, and the result is within 24 hours. The probability of passing is higher based on our results at RPS migration. Let us have a look at the PTE structure. You will see here we have speaking, writing, reading, and listening. And in speaking, we just have few topics like read aloud, repeat sentence, describe image, read a lecture, and answer short question. In writing, we have summarize written text and write an essay. In reading, on the other hand, we have multiple choice for single, multiple answers, reorder paragraphs, and reading fill in the blanks with the integration of writing as well. And in listening, we have several topics such as summarize spoken text, multiple choice, fill in the blanks, highlight correct summary, select missing word, multiple choice, highlight incorrect words, and write from dictation. So we are going to go over these topics during our review, and I will be your PTA headmaster. So that's fun. So we have good results and testimonials, actually excellent results and testimonials. And let's have some of them. So we have here the testimonial of Lemon Bacalso. So congratulations, she got a 5-star review. RPS English Language Review Program for PTE is highly commendable. I only had less than a month of preparation due to my hectic schedule at work, yet I was able to achieve my target score with flying colors. RPS Review has a unique system in place, up-to-date review materials, and excellent teaching strategy that help me absorb the lessons and techniques with ease. For me, RPS is the top choice for working moms, dads, and anyone with limited time to review. With RPS system, your passing score is guaranteed. So thank you so much, Lemon. So he passed the English test easily and present test of English. So the testing center we do have in Singapore, we do have everywhere, I think. So in Saudi Arabia, in the Philippines, in Australia. Okay. Let us have a look at the results. So the perfect score of our PTE test takers. You will see here they got all 90, and that's equivalent to all 9 in IELTS and all A in OET. That's why I highly encourage my engineers to take Pearson test of English because it's very strategic. It will give us 20 points. Hello, good day to all of you. My name is Renate Pisulit, your registered migration agent in Australia. And my model registration number is 138246. Residency application is the most important part of this program because we are going to make you immigrants in Australia. You and every member of your family, immediate member of the family. So here I am going to discuss the criteria, the method, the timeline of our application. Australia is a beautiful country, and I love being here. My decision to move here 12 years ago has been the best decision of my life. Let's have the general skilled migration. So we have here three subclasses, subclass 189, subclass 190, and subclass 491. These are the visas, the immigrant visas that you are applying for. With 189 and 190 visa, you can stay in Australia permanently, work and study in Australia, enroll in Australia's public health care scheme called Medicare, sponsor your relatives to come to Australia, travel to and from Australia for 5 years, and you are eligible to become an Australian citizen if you spend 4 years of um, living and working in Australia. On the other hand, subclass 491, you may stay in Australia for 5 years, live, work, and study in a designated regional area of Australia, travel to and from Australia as many times as you want while the visa is valid. You may apply for permanent residence after 3 years from the time your visa is granted. The following are the eligible occupations under engineering occupations. Number one is chemical engineer. Two, we have materials engineer, civil engineer, and geotechnical engineer. So those four classifications or occupations are under Engineers Australia. We have the quantity surveyor under AIQS. We have structural engineer, transport, electrical, electronics engineer, industrial engineer, mechanical engineer, production or plant engineer, mining engineer, excluding petroleum. We have petroleum engineer, aeronautical engineer, agricultural engineer, biomedical engineer, engineering technologies, environmental engineer, naval architect, and engineering professional, not elsewhere classified. So these eligible occupations are our skills entry in Australia. Once you get assessed by Engineers Australia, we can use that, no, in our migration to Australia. Let's talk about the skills assessment. Sometimes you are wondering what is the role of skills assessment. Skills assessment is necessary and it is mandatory in order to have a valid visa application. If you don't have skills assessment under Engineers Australia or relevant assessing authority, your application might be refused. What are the requirements under for your skills assessment under Engineers Australia? So number one, you must have a PTE of at least 50 and above. You must present a competency demonstration report. If claiming points in experience, tax or payslips, SSS contribution, registration certificate, degree certificate, transcript of records, and the license. So these are the requirements for skills assessment under Engineers Australia. What is CDR or the competency demonstration report? Sometimes you are wondering what are the experiences that I have to provide in my competency demonstration report. Basically, CDR or competency demonstration report is a narrative of your engineering experience. You are going to provide 3 episodes of your engineering experience wherein you use your engineering knowledge in a certain project. So you have to provide a narrative of what you did in the past. Say, for example, a project with this drawing, so you may present that in competency demonstration report. What we do at RPS Migration is that we are giving you the guidelines of what to write, provide sometimes samples of And for the forms, no, insofar as the form is concerned, we provide samples for the CVR, and our clients are very successful in coming up with a CVR. Now, if you refer a certain project, if you refer a certain project in your CVR, and you are going to present that in your relevant experience, you must present a certificate of employment wherein you enumerate there your job description, your roles and responsibilities. So the CDR is very easy to write because it is just a narrative of your experience. What is a professional reference? So a professional reference on its form is written on the letterhead on a paper with the letterhead of the company, dated and signed by someone who has the supervisory role while you were working or while you are working in the company. So on its substance, it must enumerate your roles and responsibilities, how you are doing your job in the workplace. So for example, if you are a mechanical engineer, how do you do your job? How do you solve the problems? So that must be written in the professional reference. We are going to give as well the sample of the format of the professional reference at RPS Migration. The eligibility criteria include the age, English test, educational attainment, experience, status, CCL point, nomination, and no medical condition. I'm going to discuss each of these in the following sections. With regard to your age, you must be less than 45 years of age at the time of the invitation. So even if you are 45 at the time of lodgement, but at the time of invitation, you are less than 45 years old, then that's fine because the invitation locks in all attributes of the client, and then your dependents must not be more than 21 years old. So at RPS Migration, I require that my client should be less than 43 years old so that I have time to process. So I need 2 years to process all of this or more than that, so that our clients will not be stressed and they are going to have their migration goal to Australia. This is the English test requirement for engineers migrating to Australia. You must have at least competent English score. But at RPS Migration, I require that you must have a superior score. That's why I coach Pearson test of English, and you must score at least all 79 and above to get 20 points. That's why PTE is very strategic. If you score at least all 79, combination of English is not possible. The validity of the English result is 3 years. Secondary applicant must have functional English. Who is the secondary applicant? Your husband or your wife? Or if each second VAC or the visa application charge is necessary, say for example, if your secondary applicant cannot comply with the functional English. So passport of UK, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, and US is considered as competent English. With regard to educational attainment, you must have a bachelor degree of engineering. So Bachelor of Science of Mechanical Engineering, Electrical Engineering, because that is suitable for migration and that is equivalent to AQF qualifications in Australia. How about your experience? Okay, so at least 3 years, but less than 5 has 5 points. At least 5 years, but less than 8 has 10 points. At least 8 in the last 10 years has 15 points. Please look closely at number 3. So at least 8 in the last 10 years. So that is at the time of invitation. Okay, so at the time of invitation, you must have at least 8 years in the last 10 years so that you can have 15 points. And the experience must be paid experience. And the proof of employment includes your pay slips, your tax, your professional reference or equivalent, your EOI or your expression of interest automatically recalculates your points if experience changes in years. That's why you are wondering, you've been waiting for your invitation for like 10 months, and then suddenly you notice that your points change from 15 to 10, because sometimes if you stop working, EOI will automatically detect the change in your points. That's the explanation for that. Now for the immigration, they verify your employment by calling the employer. We have some clients who experience that. The immigration called them, they called the employer to verify. So you must always present us the genuine document or genuine experience, so that there will be no trouble. So that is all about your experience, and the maximum score for experience is 15 points. Now on status. So single applicant has 10 points, and the de facto spouse can get either 5 or 10 points. Competent English has 5 points, and with skills assessment you have 10 points. So what do you mean by that? So it's good to be single. That's that's the uh, that's the moral lesson, because a single applicant has 10 points. Say for example, in the course of your application you get married or you declare a de facto partner, so you can get at least 5 points or 10 points from your partner or spouse if the following is completed. So for example, if your spouse or partner sits for English test, so you can get 5 points. If your partner has a skill that is listed in the occupational list, as for example, he or she is also a nurse, gets registered as well. So with the skills assessment, we can get 10 points as well. That's why if you are both nurses, I highly advise that you both get registered, you both engage RPS migration so that we can have 10 points. All right. So the maximum score for status is 10 points. You may include a de facto partner in the application. So what is a de facto partnership? So you must be in a relationship for at least 2 years. You must be living together for at least a year. You must have a shared bank account, and you must be committed to a shared life, and can be a same or opposite sex. So with regard to your de facto partnership, I am going to assess meticulously your application, but you can include your de facto partner. It's not boyfriend, it's not girlfriend, but a de facto partner. So you must be living in together. What is credentialed community language or CCL? I think only RPS migration is giving this advantage to Filipino clients, because we can coach you for Tagalog, okay, for 5 points. This is an additional 5 points for you. And this is one of the reasons why our clients get invited first, because majority of the clients, say for example, they have 80 points, but through credential community language, they have an additional 5 points. So our clients get 85. So if you have 85 points, you will first be invited among the pack. So it is a national accreditation test for para interpreters. So assessment of your Filipino language at the community level. So meaning what you use during the day-to-day conversation, an online test that lasts for 15 minutes. RPS is coaching Filipino language, and you get extra 5 points if you pass it. So that is worth trying. Credential community language is, I think, $800 with GST if you are onshore. So it is only 15 minutes all online. All right. So credential community language CCL is another advantage of RPS clients. For nomination, this is very important with subclass 190 and subclass 491. So it gives additional 5 or 10 points if nominated. All states and territory nomination are open for engineers, and you must be working in the state or territory generally. So for example, if you are offshore, or overseas, sometimes you need to get a job offer in the place, for example, Tasmania or Western Australia or Northern Territory. So you must live there for 2 years and work for a year, has an obligation to fulfill the conditions attached to the visa. Some states, territories have nomination payment. So this is all about nomination that is very necessary for subclass 190 and subclass 491. You must have no medical condition. So what is the meaning of that? So health condition that requires cost to Australian government, say for example, dialysis or heart condition or hepatitis active. So history of TB is okay. Health check must be done within 28 days from request. So the immigration will request for the immigrate for health clearance, and you have to comply that within 28 days. Sometimes, if that is not possible, you have to communicate with RPS migration with regard to that. Immigration has this principle of one fails, all fail criteria. Say, for example, all of you are healthy, but one of you is suffering from Down syndrome. Okay, so your visa will fail for permanent residency. That is okay in a working visa under subclass 482 because you are covered by private insurance. But the moment you apply for permanent residency, that will be an issue. Skill select invitation is the most crucial part of the application because this stage tells us when we get invited and proceed, and our points must be ahead of the others to get invited first. All claim points must have evidence, and this is where RPS expertise gets in. Invitation takes time, and it depends upon the allocation of the quota. Sometimes this is the source of the drama among clients who believe that making drama will make invitation faster. This is the reason why RPS makes the client counseling very clearly that there are things which are beyond our control. So you are now ready for the visa application. This is the permanent residency application. This is the or a temporary residency application. So you have done enough. You've been working in Australia. Sometimes you are waiting for you are lodging your visa application while you are in Australia, and sometimes you are offshore. You are working in your original workplaces. So once we lodge your visa application, it must be complete. No, it must be complete. You see, Australia is very beautiful. How so how do we make it complete? So you see here that the application must be decision ready. All the documents are there. The submissions are there. So if I'm going to address something in your application, say for example, you had a previous visa refusal that you haven't declared before, I have to address that. I have to address your experiences through a submission, the proof of your employment, and as well, what else? Your status, your de facto partnership. So these and more are part and parcel of your visa application. Our fastest approval is a 2-day visa approval, and you must pay the correct visa application fee. Before, like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, the immigration only spent at least 5 days in approving the visa, the permanent residency, from the moment of lodgement. That's why I think in September of 2018, I had like 85 visa approvals in a month. That was the most beautiful day in Australia for Philippine nurses, and of course, I think from India as well, and different nationalities. Let us look at the timeline. The process is composed of 6 stages, and it takes almost 16 to 18 months minimum for the whole process. It is long, but it will come, especially when you follow the strategy that I will advise to you to take. The skills assessment takes 12 weeks while skill select invitation is indefinite. Note that the expiry of the expression of interest or EOI is 2 years. So whenever it expires, we make a new one. Nomination takes 12 weeks. Visa outcome varies, but immigration turnaround time is 12 months minimum. We do have approval of visa in just 5 days. We do have so many success stories for our engineer immigrants. Some of them got employed in the same or even better jobs. Others chose to be in a different field at the start of their lives in Australia, just like other immigrants, and make their way up over time. Let us have a look at the roadmap of Silver Apilado application. He is an industrial engineer and he has 90 points. He engaged RPS migration on November 23, 2018. He scored superior tests in Pearson test of English because we coach him on Pearson test of English and he scored 85 on January 19, 2019. We lodged the engineer's application assessment on June 5, 2019. We received the result on September 12, 2019. We filed our EOI on September 18, 2019, and we get the invitation on March 2020. Look at the gap. We launched the visa application on May 11, 2020 when the fund is available, and we received the immigrant on June 23, 2021. When you are going to have a look, from the moment he engaged us and the moment he received his immigrant, it is almost 3 years. But he continued working in the Philippines. He just let RPS Migration manage his application and he received his application in due time. This is the key of getting your application done. Give us the complete trust and we will make it happen. Just follow the instructions of RPS Migration. We do have standard package for our engineering application. You may contact our nearest RPS office to know more about the package. So, registered engineers, I can't wait to see you here in Australia. Again, this is your registered migration agent, Renante Sulit, with Mara number 1382407. Good luck to all of you.